We can get into the topic at hand, which is the Bengals' first W yesterday. First W of the season for the Cincinnati Bengals against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was an awesome game. A lot of good things, a couple of bad things I want to go over, but majority positive. And we're heading into a tough week, going up against the Baltimore Ravens, easily a top 5, top 3 team in the NFL right now. So, we have a lot to dive into and a lot to uncover. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and join the DCTV family as we are growing fast and rapid here in the Cincinnati tri-state. And, farther upon that, there was people from all across the country in the stream last night. Somebody from Ireland, I believe like Brazil. It was like all around the world there was people. So that's obviously something I love to see. Very awesome. But, are we live? Let me know if we're live. I can't tell if we are. Are we live, guys? Are we good? We good? Somebody let me know. But yeah, if not, we're about to hop into today's topic at hand, which is obviously yesterday's game. So we'll start with, what do you guys want to start with, the positives or the negatives of yesterday's game? Let me know in the stream. Should we start with the positives or start with the negatives? I'm going to go ahead and post on social media while you guys catch up. So just to get some more people in here. Yo guys, what is up? We are going live right now on DCTV on YouTube. Just talking about yesterday's game, having some fun. Come celebrate and say WHODEY. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good day. All right, so that's my Snapchat. If you haven't already, go follow me on all social media. WHODEY, Ladarius, thanks for joining the stream, my man. Did Wilson end up playing or was he out? Wilson was out with the concussion, so hopefully he is back and ready next week. You obviously had something you want to watch, especially being a linebacker. We see guys come out the league early all the time because of concussions. It's a very serious thing, especially for a linebacker and a rookie at that. So hopefully he's all good and healthy, ready to go next week because we're going to need him, and that's for sure. Obviously, we saw Jordan Evans get the interception off the deflection of Jesse Bates. He was probably in role, stepping up in Wilson's spot. Maybe if Wilson plays, he gets his second pick on the season, maybe. Don't want to stretch things so far, but who knows? So, one sec, guys. I'm just posting on my social media real quick. Try to get some more people in here. But I appreciate you guys sticking around and getting ready to talk about all this goodies. We live. All right, cool, man. Awesome. Ladarius, I don't know if you're in the Discord or not. If you haven't, you should definitely just consider joining. It's just a group chat of Cincinnati fans. We just talk Cincinnati sports all day long. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, definitely try doing that as well. Looks like Nova. Okay, so that does update after the stream because we ended the stream with a different name than that. So that tells me that still updates even when I'm not live. But yeah, yesterday's stream was insane, man. It wasn't the highest viewing stream of the season so far, but it had to be one of the top for subscribers because DCTV got literally big overnight. It was crazy. What did you say about Wilson taking care of something at work? Oh, yeah, work. Yeah, he was dealing with concussion, and I was just saying we got to be cautious of that because especially a linebacker position, really any position in the NFL, because you don't want him to start building up these concussions because, look at Luke Kuechly and a number of other guys who their career was unfortunately ended was shortened because of concussion. So hopefully he's good and back because we're going to need him next week against the Ravens. So you guys want me to talk about the negative, and somebody said the positive. Well, there's a lot more positive than there is negative this week. So I might just knock the negative out the way, get that over with, and then we'll get to the positive. Save the best for last. That's what type of man I am. Oh, you're so quarantined, but with. Okay, so let me finish posting on my social media real quick, guys. And keep it rolling. All right. I am subscribed to your YouTube account. I appreciate that, man. I don't know if I recall you or not. Imagine seeing Lil Skies not inviting me. Yeah, I met Lil Skies a while ago now. Met him and Sway Lee. I've met King Von. I've met a whole bunch of rappers somehow in Kenwood, the mall of Cincinnati, if you want to call it that, I guess. But sorry guys, I'm just so distracted. I'm trying to get this posted on my social media real quick, and then I'm definitely going to dive into things. So I got my Snapchat. I got to get Facebook because a lot of people came over from Facebook last stream. But I mean, since we're starting with the negatives, you guys let me know right now. What are some of the negatives you pointed out in last week's game? You know, if there was a negative that was, you know, that you saw that we need to work on and improve for the next week, what is a negative that you guys, you know, definitely spotted that needs to be worked upon? Okay, posted on Facebook. If you guys haven't already, go follow me on all social media. It's link in the description. Post all kinds of goodies. Usually it's just me posting about YouTube, honestly. Oop, might get an echo. Copy link. The secondary was kind of bad. Yeah, we're gonna dive into the secondary, especially Sims. You know, they went hard. They went aggressive at Sims. He held his own for, you know, majority of the time. I know he had deflection in the end zone. So he wasn't terrible. It wasn't like he was getting roasted all game long. But they definitely picked Sims. Were like, we're going to get you. William Jackson played well. I think he had one or two. You know, he gave it up a couple times. But, I mean, that's going to happen throughout the length of a game or the longevity of a game. But Jesse Bates was brilliant. Jesse Bates did awesome. So he was definitely a bright spot in the secondary. Von Bell had to keep a couple good tackles. Would like to see more of him sending that blitz. You know, I feel like when we send him in for that blitz, it really opens up a lot of our playbook, and it really, I don't know, I feel like that opposing quarterback kind of panics a little bit, and that's what we saw with Minshew later on in the game when we got more aggressive. But we'll get into that definitely. I think there's good things, and you got to think, you know, we don't have Trey Waynes. Trey Waynes would have definitely helped a lot. I think a lot of people have forgot about him already this season, and we Bengals did try to address that. It's just unfortunate that he's hurt. So you can't be mad at the Bengals organization for that because they tried. I know I saw some, Phillips was in there making some plays. I believe he got burnt once or twice as well. Trying to think who else I saw in the secondary. Linebackers were, without Wilson, who's been the starter in the middle, he was out. So, I saw the 7th round pick in there. I saw a lot of Jordan Evans. So I feel like we were just kind of going next man up, trying to, just throw whoever in there just to be, it is what it is type of thing. So I think there's going to be another improvement. And from a week ago, our tackling looked a lot better, but we're still not A+ on tackling. This is a team who I still think struggles with tackling. And, it's hard to say that because they're a lot better than last year. But I think we're improving, but we're not there yet. And you guys are going to find that out probably on Sunday against the Ravens. I feel like this isn't going to be talked about right now, but after Sunday's game, win or loss, it's going to be talked about either positive, hey, we stopped Lamar Jackson, or negative, like we can't stop anybody in that offense. So tackling is going to be super key, making sure we wrap up on that first contact and not the secondary, the third, the fourth guy. We got to get them now. Same thing with sacks. We've had so many missed sacks this season, and even a few yesterday. So hopefully we can clean that up as well. Our linebacker crew is better, and they're still young. I mean, I think the only older guy is, was it Pratt, or is it, can't remember if it's Pratt or if it's the other, I get those two mixed up all the time. I'm not sure why. Pratt or Bynes. Yeah, it's Bynes. Bynes is 31 years old. He's on he's on an expiring contract. He's been pretty great so far this year. Will the Bengals resign him? I don't know. I think it has to be for pretty cheap. I think we need to keep building with this young team. And he's one guy who's going to be 31, turning 32. So he's one of the only older guys on this team. I mean, really, the only old guys on this team, which is like old, by as in 30 and up, is Sean Williams, who's a backup safety. Obviously AJ Green, Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap. probably our punter, Kevin Huber. But other than that, I mean, we're such a young team, and I feel like we do need a couple veterans presence. I would love to bring in a veteran presence on the offensive line this offseason. I do think the Bengals will make a move for a offensive lineman this season. I know we keep talking about, oh, they're going to draft this, they're going to draft that. Well, I do hope the Bengals do draft, but I want to see them go and sign somebody in free agency, which we can get into that. We're kind of getting off topic, but what's up, Fishy? How did ADG look? I didn't see much of him, to be honest. I know he had a handful of tackles. I want to see him try to blitz a little bit more. He had I think he got credited with a half sack. I take that back. I think he got credited with a half sack. So there's that. A bright future in our linebacker position between Pratt, ADG, and Wilson, man. I mean, those guys are the future of our linebacking core. So I'm not really worried about those guys for the future. That's why I say, it's going to be a decision to bring back Bynes or not. Do we want to stick with our guys? Do we want to keep them just for some depth? Have an older veteran presence over there? Because other than that, Jesse Bates is young. Von Bell is young. Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins are old in the offensive line, or the defensive line, excuse me. But other than that, I mean, let's see. Sam Hubbard is young. Carl Lawson is young. I mean, we got so many young guys. So to have one or two of these, older presence guys are definitely going to help. How old is Pratt? Pratt is, I know he's mid-20s. I believe Pratt is mid-20s. Marcus Bailey was the guy I was talking about earlier. The rookie out of Purdue, the 7th-round pick. Saw him in the game, come filling in for Logan Wilson. Pratt is 24. So Pratt is the same age as Joe Burrow, just to show how, how young he is. So, once again, that's another young guy in our linebacking core. That's why I said we don't need linebackers for the future. That's why I think it's going to be interesting, if we pay Bynes or not. Preferably if we did, hopefully it's for pretty cheap, like a veteran cheap deal. But I wouldn't want them to overpay there when we need to go overpay at like a lineman spot or something. Somewhere else on this team. That's my opinion. But let me get posted on social media real quick, guys. Give me a second. Okay, what do we say? Sam Hubbard is not really getting pressure this season. Yeah, I mean, really not even just Sam Hubbard. I mean, a lot of our defensive front. Carl Lawson has gotten back there a couple times. I will say that. He has looked pretty good at moments. But I would still like to see more. And that was one of the things I was going to get into was our defensive front. I think we got to get more pressure on the quarterback because when we're able to, it's when we really look a lot better because our secondary is, hung out to dry. You know what I mean? So getting to the quarterback quick, opens up a lot for your defense. It makes it a lot easier for the linebackers, a lot easier for the corners because if you're in zone, you don't have to, possibly get a broken coverage. If you're in man, you won't have to cover the guy as long. So we definitely got to see the pressure get going. Carlos Dunlap, he's had pretty decent tackles, and he's done a good job with deflections like he's done his whole career. Haven't seen much pressure out of him, though, besides the deflections and the good tackling skills. I haven't seen him really in the backfield. Sam Hubbard, haven't seen much of him. Although the week against the Chargers, he was in the backfield all game long. He just missed so many tackles, or so many sacks, excuse me. He had at least like 2 to 3 missed sacks minimal. So Sam Hubbard was getting back there against the Chargers. He just couldn't wrap up. I don't know what it was with him. So we'll have to look into that. And that's tackling, and that's going to show when you play against a team like the Ravens, who's top 5 in the league. You can't miss tackles on teams like that. So that's going to show next week, win or loss. And that's, one of my big picks that the Bengals are going to have to do, or one of my big predictions is they're going to have to wrap up, and they're going to have to hit on that first tackle and that first sack opportunity. Because a lot of teams, you don't get a lot of sack opportunities, so you got to take advantage of it. But yeah, that's what I think about those guys. Geno, yeah, we need Geno back. That rush defense still isn't great. The rush defense, they still ran all over us. I mean, their yards per carry was great. They just had to shy away from the rushing game because we got the lead. And when you're down by 2 possessions, you can't run the game you can't run the ball because it wastes so much clock. So if our rushing game is at least going to be terrible the rest of the season, we have to get the lead first because then they can't run the ball because they don't have enough time. So I know that wasn't brought up much over the social media I've seen overnight. But, I mean, our rushing game still wasn't great. We still gave up a lot of yards per carry to an undrafted free agent at that. So I still think that's a problem, and it's going to be a problem against the Ravens. We really need Geno back for this week against the Ravens. That's for sure. But, yeah, I mean, that's the only way we got lucky because we got the lead, so they couldn't run the ball. They had to throw at Minshew, and we were ready to step up for that. So that's a great point, Drake. Come celebrate the Bengals win. What are you guys saying? I think once Geno gets back, we'll see more pressure. He commands double teams. And, yeah, that's a great point. That is honestly a great point. You could be very true. I mean, that guy does get a lot of double teams. I know DJ Reader has, kind of taken over that role a little bit. Obviously, he's not an every down guy. But I've seen him try to stuff the run a little bit and try to cause some double teams as well. But no one does it as best as Geno Atkins would if he was playing. So no, I totally agree with you on that. On a QB like Lamar, if you don't take sacks when you can, he's going to take off and run all over. So that's why I'm saying if we can't tackle Gardner, if we can't sack Gardner Minshew, if we can't wrap him up, if we can't wrap up Justin Herbert, not Justin Herbert because that's not who he played, but Tyrod Taylor, if we can't wrap up guys like that, imagine what Lamar Jackson's going to do to us. So that's my whole point on, we got it. No exceptions on the missed tackles. Post that there. Let's see. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. We're good. Okay. So getting into the negatives. I'll start on the offense side of the ball. And guess what? I'm really not going to hit on offensive line this week. Crazy. Right? I'm not really going to hit on the offensive line this week. They held their own. Still not fantastic. Still not a top O line, but they looked like a whole different new team. And it was really exciting to see that over a week they looked totally different. But we're not getting into the positives. Negatives on the offense side of the ball. Not much on Joe Burrow because, he looked fantastic. The one interception wasn't even his fault. So, Joe Mixon, no complaints. He got going. He did his thing. Let's see. We're going receivers. All right. If you didn't check out the post stream, so when people start commenting, me and this guy kind of went at it a little bit. He's a Bengals fan. We didn't go at it. It was still some respect, but he was just really highly defending A.J. Green to the point where it was like, man, I'm a Bengals fan, but at the same time, man, the NFL is a business. And we were just talking about A.J. Green, and he was saying, oh, this, that, injuries, this, O-line, not giving him enough time, yada, yada, yada. Just everything under the world why A.J. Green isn't having a good game, even though he's dropped many passes and had, a couple of missed opportunities that, if it was a few years ago, he would have made. But he was just totally disagreeing with me about it. But anyways, A.J. Green, don't want to say it yet. He hasn't played 2 years, so he might still be rusty, but he doesn't look the same. You got to be honest with yourself at some point. A.J. Green just doesn't look like the same player he once was, unfortunately. Not saying he can turn that around, but he doesn't look as fast. He's not creating as much space. He tried to say he's not the guy I was talking to. You can go look at the comment section. He was saying it's not his fault because the O-line's not giving him enough time to run his route. But at the same time, Tyler Boyd and a bunch of other guys are getting open, so I don't really see that case scenario. But he just doesn't look the same, to be honest. And we kind of, that led to the offseason, the Bengals need to pay him no matter how he does. And I disagree. I love A.J. Green. I watched him growing up. I am an 18-year-old kid. I watched A.J. Green majority of my childhood. I love A.J. Green. But growing up, you need to start understanding the NFL is a business, and each team has their own salary cap. The Bengals have a lot less salary cap than majority of the teams in the league. And the money that he wants is out of reach. At least the money that he wanted last season. That's why the Bengals didn't come on an agreement, and that's why we, gave him a 1-year prove-it deal. And so far, the Bengals are winning that deal because, they're paying him a lot this year for the franchise tag, but they're saying, AJ, we told you we're not going to pay you that. The thing he thought I don't like AJ Green. I love AJ Green. I want to see AJ Green retire as a Cincinnati Bengal, but at the right price. You know what I mean? We can't go overpay AJ Green, who's not performing like he used to, and then now we can't go shop for an offensive lineman to help Burrow because we spent it all on AJ Green. You know what I mean? You can't lock yourself up like that. And the Bengals have done a great job. Their team is so young. They don't have many contracts where they have to be locked up. You know, they got rid of was it Kirkpatrick's catcher or Dre Kirkpatrick? His contract was awful, and the Bengals got out of it. Now Trey Waynes is locked up, and he's not playing right now. But that's one of the very few players that is locked up. So that AJ Green situation, we got to see how he plays. We got to see how he does, and later on in the season, then we can start saying he's from the $7 to $10 million salary range, or he's $10 to $15 million salary range. Because a season ago he was looking for a 15, around that range, if not more, for multiple years. And I think the Bengals that deal so far is going the Bengals' way. I want to see him retire as Bengal. I love AJ Green, but at the right price. And so far this season, he hasn't looked great. And, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, that he hasn't played in 3 years and he's rusty and this and that. I give him the benefit of the doubt. But, we're going on to week 4. This is 1 quarter into the season already. When is he ready? When are we going to see him back? It's already been 2 full seasons, give or take. So, how much longer as Bengals fans should we, keep waiting? And that's my point. And the thing I said to him, the guy I was talking to, was like, you can't pay a player for the name on his jersey. You got to pay that player with how he plays. Pay to play, not pay the name. And that's exactly what I said to the guy. And, you can disagree with me and say no matter how he plays, he should return. I think he should return, but at the right price. And he just said he should get paid no matter what. So, yeah, that's anyways, we're getting off track. But a negative point in this game was AJ Green and how he played. He had 1 reception for 3 yards. He had a couple dropped passes. I know it was tight coverage, but that you're a wide receiver 1 in the league. You're expected to make tough catches. So AJ Green was a big negative for me on that receiver corps. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Auden Tate on there as well. Not necessarily saying it's his fault, but the fact that he's only getting very low, playing time. He only had 1 reception. Not necessarily his fault, but I would like to see how his situation possibly escalates the next few weeks before the trade deadline to see if he tries to get out of Cincinnati or not. And I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch. And if it does happen, clip this stream because I said it here first. But that's about all I have for the offensive side. I don't want to get into the O-line. They look the best they have this season by miles, and I will get into that when we go to the positives. Hopping on to the defense. Where should we start? Let's start where we were just talking before. Defensive line. The pressure has to up. Obviously, if we get Geno Atkins back, that's a huge contribution. So hopefully we can get him back and get him back in that lineup. Him and who am I trying to say? I don't know why I'm on a brain fart right now. DJ Reader. Him and DJ Reader up that gut should be a great defensive rush team, and not just that, a double. A lot of guys who cut and take a breather. A lot of guys who cause double teams. And what's that do with your defensive ends? 1-on-1, and they have all the daylight to do spin moves, reverse spin moves, whatever they want, a power bull move, and get back to that quarterback and cause pressure. We got to get better. I expect to get better as Geno Atkins gets healthy once again. But yeah, we got to get Sam Hubbard getting some sacks. Carl Lawson's looked, pretty good. He did have a, pretty bad flag last week, but it is what it is. He's looking good, though, for the future. But Sam Hubbard, got to see more of him. Carlos Dunlap, like I said, he's done a great job his whole career, and he's done a great job this season and last week with the pass deflections. We continue to see that, just not a lot of pressure. But I think that's all about I have for the defensive front, or the defensive line. Moving on to linebackers, obviously we're without Wilson, who so far has, been locking down that linebacker spot in the middle of the field, even as a rookie. Concussion, he was out. We had a lot of guys step up that usually don't play as much. They look decent, but they can't play how they did this week against the Ravens. You got to play better. You got to play to the team that you play. But they didn't look too bad. Missed tackles, a big one for the whole defense in general, not a specific position. I already said it before. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but you can't miss tackles against the Ravens. You can afford it against a team like the Jags who don't have as many playmakers. But when you're against the Ravens who has a playmaker at almost every single position, you got to wrap up. Guys like Mark Andrews aren't easy to bring down. So tackles, pressure. There was a couple times where our secondary was getting picked on, and by secondary I mean LaShawn Sims. He shouldn't be playing as much as he should because Trey Wayne should be playing, so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt at the same time. But yeah, we were getting picked on a couple times, secondary. But if we get more pressure, it'll be a lot easier on the secondary. So I'm not too hard hitting on the secondary, this. They played well. They played with the cards they had. They did what they did and had to do, and we got the outcome we wanted, and that was a win. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna hit too hard on the secondary. Jesse Bates had a great game. He had the deflection of how he even got the interception. If it wasn't for him getting that deflection, then we wouldn't even have the interception. Von Bell had a couple good tackles. I want to see him sending more pressure himself because he's great at getting tackles for loss. Tackles for loss was something we did pretty well last week, I will say. A lackluster of sacks, but pretty good on the tackle for loss ratio. Negatives. You are in the stream right now. Make sure you comment your negatives in the chat for this last week so we can talk about it. I'll give you guys about a minute or so, just, to let me hear what you guys have to say about the negatives. If you're still in the stream, make sure you hit that like button and join the DCT family by hitting that subscribe button as well. Oh, yeah, Damon Harrison. They've been talking about it, man. I've been waiting to see when that's going to happen. I've been waiting for that to happen. We're not going to shut him down. We just need to contain him. That is 100% correct, Drake. I do not expect to shut Lamar Jackson or the Ravens offense down, but I do expect to contain them. And when you contain a team like that, you have a chance at winning. Any team that you can just contain, you have a greater chance of winning. If I'm not saying go out there and shut him down because it's most likely not going to happen. But if you can contain him, slow him down, that gives our offense a shot to stay in the game. And that's just being realistic with the Bengals, knowing they don't have the best defense in the league. Saying that you expect them to shut them down is at least a good start. A good start for sure. What are we saying? We could not stop DJ Shark whatsoever. Yeah, DJ Shark, he didn't have 100 yards, I don't believe. I believe he was below 100 yards. So not a too crazy of a game. But yeah, we were definitely struggling wrapping up DJ Shark. And, going to the Ravens, they have guys. So we got to be able to stop that with our secondary. But, it sucks when you're down a guy like Trey Waynes. We can't keep bringing him up because it is what it is. He's going to be out for a long time. So next guy up, and guys like Sims, who's going to get picked on, next guy up, he has to come in and prove that he has to be able to come in and prove that he can step up. Ravens will be a very tough game, and not going to say we will win, but we will make a very close game. And that's all I want, man. If we can't beat the Ravens, you got to be realistic with yourself. I mean, this was a game I had marked as a loss, but I want a close game, obviously. I mean, no matter who you play, you want a close game, win or loss. Obviously, it sucks when it's a loss because that's all we get as Bengals fans are close games that are a loss most of the time. So I'm used to it, but we need to hang in there. And this is a big test for Burrow. Be going up against the former MVP Lamar Jackson. I mean, this is the showdown in this league. If not the league, the division. This division, we will see these two quarterbacks go head-to-head for the next decade maybe. So, I mean, it's going to be huge for Burrow and Jackson, vice versa. So, two guys are going to be going at it head-to-head at least 2 times a year, maybe 3 some years. So, I mean, it's going to be a big one for both quarterbacks. It's going to be a fun one to watch. The future of the division, the future of the NFL. I know you could say the same thing about Browns, but we don't know about Baker Mayfield. I know they just destroyed the Cowboys, but how much did Baker Mayfield, have to do with that win? Not much, considering they just ran play action off the rushing game. But that's all you got to do when your rushing team can rush for 200 a yard. So, or 200 a game, excuse me. 2 tutties, though? Yeah. I mean, that's tough. You got that red zone defense has to step up. That's a good point, Dylan. That red zone defense has to step up and make some more plays. Bend, don't break. That's something we got to do. Bend, don't break, especially against a team like the Ravens who are going to put up a lot of points. Bend, don't break is huge. If you can hold them to 3 instead of 6, that's game changing. That's game changing. And that interception with Drew Sample was ridiculous. How does that happen? And then he missed another touchdown throw, went right through his hands. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't blame that interception on Burrow at all. That was not his fault. It hit Drew Sample in his face mask right here, bounced off, another guy caught it. It was just ridiculous. So it is what it is. Nick Chubb's on the IR. I mean, that sucks, but they still have Kareem Hunt. And it looks like the receiving game can run too. They ran the hell out of the ball with Odell, Jarvis Landry, all those guys, which I would like to see us be able to do. You know, we got some speedsters, John Ross, Tyler Boyd. I would like to see those guys. I mean, we did it, though. When T. Higgins got a rush, wasn't it Tyler Boyd that got a rush? We were doing it, too. So, I mean, that's bad news for the Browns that Nick Chubb's on IR. Hopefully he's okay. You know, prayers up. But for us, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't slow them down by much when you have a guy like Kareem Hunt who's up next. They don't have that double-headed monster anymore, but they still have a guy back there who is good and talented. So we'll have to see how long Chubb is out, because that could be down the road. That's gonna be huge if he's not active down the road, especially for when the Browns and Ravens play. I mean, they really gonna need him in that game. So positives. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Positives on the offensive side of the ball would have to start with Joe Burrow. Burrow is still looking great. Another 300-yard plus game. He threw for, I think, exactly 300 on the dot. One touchdown, one interception. Interception was not his fault. It was totally Drew Sample's. He just looks great, man. I mean, no matter what fan of a team you are on, you cannot deny Joe Burrow and how fantastic he looks. I mean, that guy just looks fantastic. He looks like the future franchise quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's what he's been so far. So, I mean, that's about it for Burrow. Gets his first win of his NFL career. Then we move on to Mixon. Finally, Mixon prevails. And with the help of the offensive line did great. The play calling for the rushing game looked so much better. It's so much. It was improved by a lot. The rushing scheme calls that we had on the previous games were horrendous. It was HB draw, HB draw, HB draw. And when you have a staggering bad offensive line and you're not creating any space or movement, that just doesn't help Mixon at all. But the play calling got the offensive line horizontal and vertical, so it got them out and moving. They're moving the defensive front of the Jaguars, and it paid off huge. Jonah Williams looks fantastic so far this season. I don't want to jinx anything, but he looks like the future captain on this offensive line. I mean, he just looks great. Jonah Williams looks fantastic. Pass blocking, rush blocking. He was getting out there, making lead blocks. There was I believe it was like a toss to the left to Mixon, and they had Jonah Williams come off the O-line to the left, and he made like a lead block on a linebacker, and it made that play from probably a 5-yard rush to like a 15, 20-yard rush. And it's the little things like that that just help tremendously with the O-line and running back chemistry. So the fact that, I think a lot of people are just saying, oh, Mixon actually did something. Yes, but at the same time, the offensive line actually did something, and the play calling was a lot better when it came to the rushing scheme. So that is something to be really excited about. To see Mixon finally going. That was so exciting for me to see Mixon finally get on 3 touchdowns on the game, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. He just looked fantastic. Moving on to the offensive line. I'm not going to gas him up too much because I don't want to jinx anything. It's only 1 week, but they looked a lot better. They were going up against a guy by the name of Josh Allen on, one of the top defensive ends in the league for the Jaguars, and he was quiet. I think he had 1 sack, but that's about it. I think it was just 1 sack for him. But I think we gave 2 sacks maybe that whole game. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the offensive line looked a lot improved. And like I said, when you made them get out and move, it sounds weird to say that for an offensive lineman, but they weren't just sitting there stagnant. They're moving outside. It does so much. Look at the Minnesota Vikings and former offense coordinator Kevin Stefanski. He did the same thing with the Vikings. They had a terrible offensive line, a year or 2 ago. But it was like the HB draws. It was the whatever plays. They now have a generational talent in Dalvin Cook. And so what do? They changed the rushing playbook. We're able to do more tosses, more horizontal runs. And you move the offensive lineman out and lead block instead of stagger block or whatever you want to call it. And like within the next season, the Vikings had one of the best rushing blocking offensive lines in the league. And Dalvin Cook, who was the second most in rushing all season, and he missed a couple games, I believe it was. He would have led. He would have been the rushing king last year if he didn't get hurt. But hopefully this is what this offensive line needs. A little bit of momentum. I know that's what Mixon needed. Some confidence and some momentum. And if you have a 3-touchdown game and don't get any from that, then I don't know. So hopefully this really, amps up Mixon, because we're going to need him next week, that's for sure. Rushing and receiving, which getting him involved in the receiving game is another huge positive for this offense. I've said it for a long time. He is a generational talent, and you can't just use him in the running game. A running back like that, you have to throw, run, everything. You got to get him involved a lot. So, another positive. Any other positives for the offense that you guys might have noticed? Any other positives on the offensive side that you guys might have noticed? Burrow has passed most of his tests. He's setting records already. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he's the first quarterback in like NFL history to throw back-to-back 300-yard games or something like that. I mean, there's so many records he's broke already. I'm not even keeping track of them at this point. I personally think that Auden Tate and AJ have been a disappointment this season. Yeah, and the Auden Tate, it's like he's not on the field too much, so I don't know if he's disappointing in practice and not earning that spot, or if he's not being able to create space. I mean, he made a great catch last week when he got the opportunity. Maybe he just doesn't have chemistry with Burrow, or maybe when he went out there and complained about the team, maybe that kind of made the rest of the team a little bit unsettled in the locker room. That's why the Bengals might not be the most active organization when it comes to trades, by all means, but maybe we force one for an offensive lineman or a pick or something that lead to be the offensive lineman or some type of value if this keeps trending, because Auden Tate has a lot of talent and he's young, so I know his value is worth quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, the Dearness Johnson, I hope I'm saying that correct, the other running back for the Browns, he looked great too. I know, I was watching the highlights, and I was like, okay, so Browns just make running backs who don't care what your name is, they just make them great. What's up, LT? Thanks for joining the stream, my man. It's good seeing you. Oh, yeah, Mixon was a man among boys. I mean, that's perfectly said right there. I mean, that guy was trucking through people. Even if it was a 5-yard rush, he was going vertical because he was just running over people. The momentum he had and confidence was just off the chain. And led to 3 touchdowns and what was that, around 150, 180 total yards or something like that? Crazy. Yeah, Night Wolves. Trey Wayne's next season for sure. We'll see some more of him, in the future, hopefully. Hopefully he can come back healthy, ready, good to go. In the team chemistry, I was really pumped to see him and Mckenzie Alexander work together because they just played multiple years together in Minnesota. And I thought now they're going to come over and play together in the Bengals. And I was like, okay, team chemistry, going to be off the charts. Boom, injury. So hopefully that is not something that's going to fade away. Tate isn't taking advantage of the opportunity he's getting. I mean, best said right there. He's not getting too big of an opportunity. He is getting one, and if you don't take advantage of it, might not be on this team next year. I know a lot of people love Tate. He's a great talent, a great player, but there's that receiver core is a tight spot, and I'm sure late round picks the Bengals are going to continue to draft receivers. I would not be surprised that sometime from the 4th to 7th round we still draft a receiver next year. Just because they're just going to continue adding young guys so they can start building chemistry with Burrow over the next few years. It's pretty common to happen over franchises. But, yeah, well, I guess we'll move on to the offense side of the defensive side of the ball for positive. So, defensive front, not much. Or, we'll start with the D-line. Not much. A lot of pass deflections because of Carlos Dunlap. They did a good job containing, I guess. Maybe you could say that. Once again, I don't think we did a good job in the rushing game. We just got lucky because we got the lead, and so they had to shy away from the rushing game. But an undrafted free agent was, well, what's his yards per carry? Let me see if I'm wrong or not. He only had like 70 yards, but they stopped running the ball in the third quarter, so... James Robinson, 17 carries, 75 yards, 4.4 a carry. So Take it how you want it. Once again, that's an undrafted free agent. But take it how you want it. I don't know. Hopefully, Geno Atkins can come back. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Hopefully, Geno Atkins can come back and save that rushing attack. Who do we play next week? We play the Baltimore Ravens at 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Baltimore Ravens. Oof. I know. All right. We'll move on to the linebackers. A big positive was next guy up. Wilson was out. He's been starting. And there's a lot of guys who don't get as much playing time that was thrown in there and did a pretty decent job. Jordan Evans, who actually got that interception off the deflection of Bates. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name. Why do I keep forgetting your name? Marcus Bailey, the 7th round pick out of Purdue. He was in there quite a bit as well, stepping up for the guys who were out. Jermaine Pratt, Bynes. Just got to work on the tackling. Said it before, but, next guy up. That might happen. That's the difference between a team. That's a difference of the NFL seasons are long for a reason. I mean, they're short compared to other, the MLB or NBA, but it's a long season for these guys who get a lot more contact in those sports. So next guy up is important for teams who will have success in the postseason and, at the end of the season, possibly leading into the postseason. Next guy up's a big thing. I mean, look at the 49ers. That's like the best definition for it. And we'll go to the secondary. Secondary, I'll start with the safeties. Great game by Von Bell. Love seeing that guy. Very explosive. Decent game. Or not Von Bell. Jesse Bates, excuse me. But a good game by Von Bell. Just got to see more out of him. I want to see him be more aggressive. Maybe that's with play calling and a little bit more trust once they start building a little bit more of a connection. But I want to see more out of Von Bell. Jesse Bates did great. Corners. Sims got picked on. Mckenzie Alexander, I think he only got burnt like once. Mckenzie Alexander's been doing pretty well, in my opinion. He's done all right. William Jackson was a guy who he held up his own. You got to think he's going up against receiver one majority of these games. So, and I wonder if it would have been him or Trey Waynes on the cornerback one. Who they would have gone with. I would assume Trey Waynes, but at the same time, I don't know if they would have went Trey Waynes or him to be that cornerback one. We'll have to see next season, I guess. But that's my positives and negatives. I'm not going to talk too much about the Ravens, but I'll go ahead and talk a little bit because I'll probably be doing another stream before Sunday. Obviously, I stream during the games on Sunday on game day, so there will be a stream at noon on Sunday. But before that, I'm probably thinking Saturday morning or Thursday or Friday afternoon, most likely, where I'll be doing the stream. But, yeah, I'll probably then be talking about the Ravens-Bengals matchup, what we'll have to look for, my prediction. My prediction was wrong. I did predict a win, but the score was wrong that I predicted. My prediction was 27-20 Bengals. 27-20 Bengals, that was my prediction. Game ended up being 33-25. But, hey, I predicted a win. Can you get him out of here? Get him out of here. But, yeah, that's what we got. What was your guys' takeaways, though, from that game? If you had to take away something positive or negative, what were you thinking? All right, so sorry about that. But I guess I'll check out some stats for the Ravens so far and see what they've been doing. We know against that Chiefs game they lost, which was a huge one for them. That would have been a big one to win for them. But check out some stats for the Ravens. But yeah, the stream was off the chain. I was so excited. That live count was at 1280, I believe. Start of the stream, 1280 or 1290, and it bumped that much just in one stream. The recent subscriber was a big success, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But let's see if the audio is working. Tell me if this audio works. I think you guys might got a little bit of echo, but let me know if that is working. If you hear audio, I know you can see it, but can you hear the WHODEY? Let me know. There's supposed to be a WHODEY sound over it, but I'm trying to fix that if not. But yeah, it looks like Nova, if you're in here or not, thanks for subscribing. You were the latest subscriber. You weren't in stream, so you must have been post-stream subscriber. Oh, what's up, Derek? Yeah, appreciate the talk. We got a game coming up soon. I think after this Ravens game, we got the Colts. But hey, I appreciate it, LT. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, the stream yesterday. And I got the lag. I got it all fixed, as you can tell. So hopefully we're good for next week, and there won't be any lag from the get-go. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a fun one to watch, and always commentating against someone like Lamar Jackson is always either a train wreck or a lot of fun. Yeah, you heard the small echo, but you don't hear the sound. Interesting. I don't know what I got to do for that, but I'll figure it out, hopefully before the stream. Let's check the player stats for the Ravens. I know they just came off a win against the Washington Redskins. Not too big of a deal. I mean, it's the Washington football team, excuse me. Lamar Jackson, 4 games played, 67 for 98, so he's a 68.4 completion percentage, which for a rushing quarterback, not too bad. 769 yards, which is 7.5 per attempt, so, he's throwing the ball. He's slinging it a little bit. 251 yards is his average through 4 games, so they are a rush-heavy team, but, if he's got to throw it, if he's got to throw it, he's got to throw it, so 47 is his longest throw, but this is the stat that is dangerous for the Ravens. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. For a guy who's known for his legs and to run the ball, to have a 7 touchdown, 1 interception ratio to start the season, and he's played the teams like the Chiefs, man, that's pretty dangerous. So turning the ball over is something the Ravens don't do much of, so we need to force some turnovers. And how do you get that? Usually some pressure. So that's why it's going to be very important to see if Geno Atkins is going to be active for the game. 111.3 rating. And then we'll move on. Rushing, Lamar Jackson, he's had 39 attempts, 235 yards with a 6-yard rushing average. What's super important about that, it's a 6-yard rushing average. So when he has to take off, he's being very productive and getting a good amount of yards. So obviously that's going to be a big linebacker spot to, linebacker's going to be covering him most of the time, in a QB spy, or maybe they'll have Von Bell or Jesse Bates come down into the box and be that QB spy against Jackson, but something like that. He also has one rushing touchdown so far, and then a fumble as well. So he has 1 pick, 1 fumble, but, maybe we can try to punch the ball out for him. That would be nice. So we all know the 3-headed rushing attack this Ravens team has had so far. It's not just Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram. It's Gus Edwards, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins. So a lot of it is split. They really don't have that one guy so far. We'll start with Gus Edwards. 27 attempts. Hold on, I just realized something. Out of all the rushing attempts from quarterback to running back, Lamar Jackson leads their team in rushing attempts on the entire season so far. Lamar Jackson has 39 rushing attempts. The second guy behind him is Mark Ingram with 34. That is an insane stat. I didn't even notice that. But we'll start Gus Edwards. 167 yards. He averages 6.2 a carry. Really great. No touchdowns, no fumble. So it is what it is. But he's coming in and he's being that guy. He's picking up yards. Mark Ingram, 34 attempts. So he's leading the running backs. But, when it comes to the entire team, it's going to be Lamar Jackson leading. But 148 yards. So that's a 4.4 carry. I would say if they do have a number 1 running back, it probably would be Mark Ingram. But 4.4 is not shabby at all. He has 2 touchdowns, so it looks like he's the guy punching it in, and then also J.K. Dobbins. So J.K. Dobbins, you got 15 attempts, so the least of the 3, but he is a rookie. So 92 yards. It's about 1 game for Mixon, possibly. It could be. But yeah, 15 attempts, 92 yards. So it's a 6.1 average, really good, but only 15, so it's a small sample size. Let's see here. His longest is a 44, so he broke out for one, and then he has 2 touchdowns on the season as well. All right, moving on from rushing. Move on to the receivers. Listening to the Bengals game on here was 100 times better than watching the Cowboys. Just saying. Hey, I appreciate that. But that game would have been freaking insane. I went back and watched his highlights of the Cowboys game, and it was just ridiculous. Thank you, Burnt Chris. I appreciate that. If you guys are still new to the channel, or if you're new to the stream, hit that like button. Make sure we get a little like spike going, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't joined the DCTV family. Also, so looks like they're receding, or so far their number 1 receiver is Marquise Brown on the season. He has 16 receptions, 242 yards, 0 touchdowns. The one thing I am noticing looking at these stats for the Ravens, it is very well distributed among these receivers. 16 receptions for Brown, 12 for Andrews, 10 for Snead, 10 for Boykin, 6 for Dobbins. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So like I was saying, they're doing a great job. 6 for Dobbins, 5 for Devin, 5 for Boyle, 3 for Mark Ingram. So they're doing a great job. We'll start with Brown, though. So 16 receptions, 242 yards, no touchdown. Mark Andrews, 12 receptions, 166 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So when they're in that end zone, they are looking for Mark Andrews, and I know that because I have him for fantasy. He has been a beast as he has 4 touchdowns through the first 4 weeks of the season. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun having him on my fantasy team. That is going to be it. Once again, bend, don't break. We got to get big in that red zone, and somebody's got to step up to, guard big boy Mark Andrews. And I'm expecting it to be Von Bell or Jesse Bates, probably Von Bell, to take on the coverage of Mark Andrews, because that's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Willie Snead. 10 receptions, more of a speedy guy, I guess you could say. 10 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. No fumbles. Oh, Mark Andrews just does have a fumble on the season now, so take note of that. Miles Boykin, 10 receptions, 111 yards, no touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins, 6 receptions, 52 yards. Devin Duvernay, 5 receptions, 42 yards. Nick Boyle, 5 receptions, 28 yards. So, once again, they're doing a great job to distribute that. You know who they're looking for in the end zone. And if you look, they got 4, Lamar Jackson has 7 passing touchdowns, and then how many rushing touchdowns on the season do they have? 1, they have 5. So they have 7 touchdowns in the air and only 5 on the ground, which for a team like the Ravens is actually kind of surprising to me. So they're doing a great job of finishing through the air. So we'll have to watch for that. I would definitely, without looking at stats, if you ask me, do I think they have more touchdowns in the air on the ground? I would have said the ground, but so far they're doing it through the air attack, which is scary. If, they don't have to force Lamar Jackson to run the ball and they can use his arm, that's scary. But if you watch the Chiefs game, Lamar Jackson looked terrible when it came to throwing the ball. He did not look. He looked super inaccurate. But he was under a lot of pressure. I'll give him that. But on the bright stage, Patrick Mahomes did his thing, and that's good because I also have him for fantasy. You're forgetting the Ravens' best player. My bad. Hold on. Let me see this. Why is that name? Trace. Yes. Okay. Now I know. I knew it looked familiar. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe their future. If he ever gets a spot over Jackson. Moving on. Scoring. Justin Tucker, Mr. Automatic. 8 field goals, 14 PATs, 38 total points. Has he missed a kick so far this season? I'm not sure, but Justin Kicker can kick it anywhere on the field. So when I say bend don't break, we got it lucky on a missed field goal yesterday, but against Justin Tucker, I doubt if we get one of those. Um, you know what? Real quick, I'm gonna go over the Bengals stats as well so far because I haven't looked at that since I think week 2. So let me look at the Bengals player stats real quick. All right. So here we go. We're going to look at the Bengals player stats real quick, guys. We have been live for about 55 minutes. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join the DCTV family, and hit that like button. What's up, Nico? Thanks for joining the stream, my man. So for the Bengals, Joe Burrow, 116 for 177, 65.5 completion percentage, which is great for a rookie. That's pretty good for a rookie. 1,121 yards, 6.3 average on a throw, and he's averaging 299.0 yards per game, which is incredible, to say the least. His longest throw of his career is 42 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Would like to see the touchdown spike, but once again, it is, for a rookie quarterback, they usually don't throw a lot of touchdowns in their rookie season. It's just a common thing. I mean, that's why I think the record's 30-something, like low 30s. So, 6, what's on track? I want to see more of that. But, if we have Mixon step up, then maybe we don't need to worry about it. Sacked, he's been sacked 15 times through 4 weeks. And we had a good week last week. So, if that doesn't tell you something. Joe Mixon, 77 attempts, 315 yards. So, even though before yesterday he has had such a bad season, just because of how good he played yesterday, it bumped his average all the way back up to a 4.1 per carry, which is insane. 34 is his longest rush of the season, so I definitely want to see him bounce one longer than that. Maybe that might be my prediction for this week's game. I might take note of that. So come back for that stream before Sunday's game. That might be my prediction because 34 is that's not his best. 2 touchdowns on the ground, and they were both from yesterday's game. So we'll have to see about that. And he's averaging 78 yards per game just because he had like 150 yards yesterday. He had the one fumble, which he doesn't do much, but he did. When Burrow's had to get out the pocket, he's had to scramble 20 times for 75 yards, 3.8 a carry. So when he gets out, he makes the most of it for sure. 1 touchdown, and that was his first touchdown of his career. Giovanni Bernard, 4 attempts, 29 yards. I saw a lot of people upset that Giovanni Bernard's not getting the ball a lot, but if Mixon's doing his thing, there's no reason they should bring Giovanni Bernard on, and that's just the truth. I love him as a captain, love his mustache, but if Mixon doesn't give him a reason to come on the field, there's no reason he should, and that's just the truth. I thought he did a touchdown, but it appears that he doesn't. I thought he did though, but. T. Higgins, we saw him have the rush last week. He got 13 yards. That's his only one of the season. Alex Erickson, I don't know if he had one yesterday, but if he did, it was for 7 yards. And I know Tyler Boyd had one, and he got 4 yards out of it. So that's our rushing attack so far. We're averaging 110 yards per game. Definitely want to see that spike. Hey, I got you, Hunter. I won't be doing it this stream, but my next stream before Sunday, so I'm streaming Sunday at noon, and those are the streams that bang. That first hour from 12 to 1 before kickoff, I usually do a call-in. So if you guys want to join then, I'll be glad to have you guys come on and talk. I had Mason Fletcher and a bunch of other people last week, so I got you. What's up with Geno, man? I mean, they're just throwing that under the carpet, so I'm not too sure, and I'm not sure if we're going to know. But if there's a week where we need him, it's definitely on Sunday. We need him against the Ravens. So if he doesn't play against the Ravens, I probably lost all hope in my predictions he's going to be out for the season. Because if they don't play him for a game where we desperately need him, I don't think we'll get him the rest of the year. Moving on to the defense. Statistically, anybody got a guess on who leads tackles for the Bengals? Anybody got a good guess on who is the tackle leader for the Cincinnati Bengals? Give you about 5 seconds. Nico, if you actually want to donate, I'm getting my YouTube monetization. It's getting approved as of right now, so I'm waiting on YouTube to get back to me. So you'll be able to do super chats, which are a lot easier. But as of right now, until YouTube monetizes me, the link in the description is the first PayPal, or the first link in the description is my PayPal. But hopefully YouTube's gonna get that up and running for me soon, and get me some super chats. That's what I'm waiting on. Because it's a requirement. I don't know it for the podcast, but for the requirement for YouTube is 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, and I have that. So I'm waiting on them to get back to me. So Roach said Alexander or Bates. Roach, you're right. It is I believe Jesse Bates. Yeah, 32 solo tackles, not a surprise. 1 tackle for loss, 5 pass deflections through 4 games. That's obviously huge. The pass deflection last week that led to the interception by Jordan Evans. So Jesse Bates having a fantastic year. I want to see him get his own. He's got to get his own pick, or he has to get a sack, or a forced fumble, or a fumble recovery. I'm waiting for that Jesse Bates turnover. It will happen sooner or later. Von Bell is now second, 29 tackles. That's all he has. He doesn't have a sack, doesn't have a tackle for loss, doesn't have a pass deflection, no interception. Von Bell is strictly all tackles, which you want to see more from him for sure, especially a tackle for loss or something. And like I said, once a player like Geno Atkins comes back and gets healthy, maybe we'll start opening up the defensive playbook and get more aggressive and possibly sitting Von Bell as a blitzer, because in New Orleans he did quite a lot of bit of that. Jermaine Pratt, 14 solo tackles, total 24. Josh Bynes, 27 and a sack and a tackle, or a 1.5 tackles for loss. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see if we bring the 31-year-old Josh Bynes back or if we let him walk. I think we'll have to see when we get there. Personally, I think he should either sign for a veteran minimum to end his career here, or probably let him walk and let the young guys step up and prove themselves. But that's just me. Jermaine Pratt, at 24 years old, he has 24 tackles to match it and a tackle for loss. Sam Hubbard, 20 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss. That man could have like 4 or 5 sacks right now, but he cannot wrap up a quarterback to save his life. I don't know what he is, but he cannot wrap up the quarterback. DJ Reader, what does he have? 18 tackles and a tackle for loss. He's kind of did his thing. I would like to see him step up a little more. Most sacks, yeah, I believe it's Lawson. Yeah, Lawson with 3.5 is going to be the most. 3 tackles for losses to add on to that as well. Well, I guess that's because of sacks, but whatever you mean. And then 15 total tackles. And honestly, that Carl Lawson could have even more than that already. I mean, these guys just can't wrap up the quarterback. If you guys have to be watching the same game I am. I don't know what it is, but we just get the jitters when it's to wrap up the quarterback, and we can't finish the job. Carlos Dunlap, 16 tackles. Yeah, 16 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 pass deflections. We saw 1 yesterday, I believe. So him doing his thing. No sacks for Carlos Dunlap through the first 4 weeks. Showing that age a little bit, I guess you could say. Obviously, Carl Lawson, 3.5 sacks. Mckenzie Alexander, 12 tackles and 1 tackle for loss. I mean, you guys let me know what you think, or how you think Mckenzie Alexander has done so far as a Bengal. But Eckler to the IR. Are you serious? That's a huge blow. That's crazy. That sucks, man. This is the thing I hate about the NFL. Even if you're a Bengals fan or if it's another team, seeing somebody get hurt like that, like a good player, it sucks so much. And it's even worse when it happens to your team. I mean, look at A.J. Green and the Bengals the past 2 years. And now Geno Atkins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's no fun seeing that across the league. LaShawn Sims has 10 tackles on the season. I think he had 5 last week. Or not last week, I'll just say yesterday. He had 5 last week. Or he had 5 in the previous game. And I think that was just because they were throwing so much his way, he couldn't get a deflection. So I think half those tackles are just from this past game. Logan Wilson, 8 tackles and an interception and a pass deflection. Obviously was inactive for yesterday's game, out with the concussion. Akeem Davis-Gathers, 7 tackles and a half sack that he got last week's game, and he shared that half sack with Amani Bledsoe, who has 7 tackles. Khalid Kareem, I didn't see anything about him yesterday. I did not see any Khalid Kareem gameplay. 4 tackles on the season, so limiting him. Jordan Evans steps up, comes in with Logan Wilson out and gets an interception. So he has 4 tackles, a tackle for loss, and an interception. That is a sample size playing right there. I mean, the sample size playing doesn't get too much better than that. And we'll stop it there because the rest that's just like 1 tackles. But that's the defense. If there's something the defense needs to improve on, it's getting pressure and getting turnovers. We got to get more pressure to the quarterback. And what happens when you do that? He turns the ball over. And with a team like the Ravens who don't turn the ball over much, it's going to be hard to do that. But we're going to have to see if we can or not. Chubb is out 6 weeks. Wow. I mean, that's a big blow, but not when you have Kareem Hunt in the backfield. I mean, all the Browns are thinking, oh, is he good for playoffs? Okay, we're straight. I mean, in the Browns' train of thought, that's all they're thinking. Because when you have a guy like Kareem Hunt, it's just ridiculous. And then their backup running back we spoke about earlier in the stream looked fantastic. I would have to scroll up in the comments. I can't remember his name. But Dearness Johnson, he looked good. And maybe they should put Odell at running back too, because Odell had like how many rushing yards? It was insane. Obviously, Randy Bullock, talking about his stats, 12 field goals, 9 PATs. I think that's the only one he's missed so far this year. Was the one against the Chargers. I literally think that was the only kick he's missed so far this year. Believe it or not. Kevin Huber, the punter, doing his thing. 46.5 net. Is that good? I'm not too sure. I'm not really into punting. Maybe I should go ask Pat McAfee. All right, what did you guys' last thoughts on this previous week? Obviously, what matters most is right down there, that little scoreboard right down there. Yeah, Bengals 33, Jaguars 25. Yo, I'm going to be honest. I think to beat the Ravens, we got to put up the same amount of points we had. I think to beat the Ravens, we got to put up 33 points. I think we have to repeat. I don't know if you can beat the Ravens under 30 points with our defense. I'm going to be completely honest. Don't know if Atkins is playing. Don't know if Wilson is playing. Who else knows who might get injured this week during practice? Because it seems to be a very common theme with the Bengals outside practice field. Maybe that's what it is. But, yeah. Any last thoughts? If you haven't watched yesterday's stream, go back and do that. I know it's over 4 hours, so you probably don't have that much free time today. But if you do, go listen to it or something. If not, stay tuned. What is today? Monday. Stay tuned for possibly a stream Saturday morning. Either Saturday morning, not Friday. Either really late Friday, early Saturday morning, or I think those are the only 2 days I could possibly do before the game day stream on Sunday. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button, become a member of the DCTV family. We are growing rapidly. It's been insane. Hit that like button on the stream if you enjoyed yourself. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this one here, guys. So WHODEY, and I'll see you guys very soon. So you guys have a good day. Oh, Louis Trigo said, is T. Higgins really about that for fantasy? Yo, man, I don't know. We'll have to see about T. I mean, maybe pick him up depending on how many people you can have on your bench in your league, because I know you can have a different amount in each and every league. But I don't know. I mean, your boy Tyler Boyd has been kind of going off. You could have used him to grab a touchdown for you, but he's getting some yardage. He leads the Bengals at 320 yards, so you might want to just hold on to your boy Tyler Boyd. But, hey, I'm drunk, he's high. You subscribed the last stream. Okay, I like how I'm about to go, and now you guys start getting active. That's funny. But yeah, I'm drunk, he's high. Hey, man, you were the first person to get on this recent subscriber when I changed over the overlay. Or one of the first. So I appreciate you, man, seeing you back in here. But unfortunately, I'm about to wrap this one up. Hey, you're welcome, LT. You have a good day, my man. I really appreciate you enjoyed it. And I'll see you either Saturday morning or Sunday at noon Eastern time for the game day stream. As long as the rest of you guys. So the rest of you guys have a good night.